Hello and welcome again to Casual Magic. This time it's the Return to Ravnica. I mean, Guilds of Ravnica pre-release and the results. This was actually kind of interesting because I was home on a trip and my old high school friend said, "Hey, pre-release is this weekend. Do you want to go?" And I actually haven't been at any sort of Magic event, and I actually haven't played against him in Magic in a mere 24 years. So I thought, hell yeah, absolutely, I'll go. But unfortunately, I didn't really read too much up on the set. I only saw a few spoilers just because it's kind of end of the half at work, unbelievably busy. So I pretty much thought, okay, what's the absolute easiest one to do? Boros. It's just going to be lots of little token soldiers, burn spells, super simple. I was wrong. This isn't exactly like the Boros of old. I thought that's the way it was going to be played. It's not. There are not very many burn spells. I was expecting some sort of help. You know, even something like a shock, just as a cheap burn spell, but there's really not in this set. So as far as kind of going through, having something like Blade Instructor was nice for Mentor, Demolition, just to make sure creatures' activated abilities can be activated mainly. Flight of the Equinox, it was good for kind of a beefier flyer once I had enough creatures out to finally do Convoke, but I only really got that to work once. Healer's Hawk, that one's so cool. I'm going to set that one aside because that is part of a super special combo. Light of Guardian, just basically a big butt on the field. Another flyer, a couple ways to deal with attacking creatures, another flyer. Direct Current, this is kind of the meh burn spell that they have in this set. It's 3 to do 2 damage, and then the next time around I can do 3 again and discard a card to do another 2 points of damage. That's not shock. I wanted more than that. I mean, yeah, I do like having burn spells in here, but oh man, that's rough. Electrostatic Field, it was alright to have a not only a wall, but one in here that could deal damage whenever I was casting an instant or sorcery. So I did get a little bit of value out of that. Goblin Banneret, just a nice little early creature I could pump. Gravitic Punch, just target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target player, which was cool when I could occasionally get out a creature with worthwhile power, which was almost never with the cards that I had. Maniacal Rage, okay. So this is the one that I want to mention. So, turn 1, Healer's Hawk. 1 white, it's a 1/1 flying lifelink. Absolutely overpowered for a common. This thing is great. Pick up a playset today. The next one was this enchantment, Maniacal Rage. So 1 in a red, it's an enchantment aura. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and can't block. Okay, so you can't block with your little 1/1 lifelink flyer. Who cares? Early on, it's basically this turn 1, this turn 2, enchanted onto here. Now you have a 3/3 flying lifelink creature. And you can't block with it, but you're attacking with it all the time to start doing 6-point life swings as early as turn 2. In one of the games that I played in, I got to the end of the game, and it was funny because I was using this one, the Ultra Pro. I can't remember the name of this dragon, but it's got the 20-point life counter on one side and then 40-point on the other. So basically I went through and it's like, oh, okay, I'm at 41, so I'm up to there. Here's another die, and I put it next to it. My friend said, hey, just flip it over. And I said, I can't. There's not a third side. He's like, wait a minute, how much life do you have? I'm like, 41. He's like, you're at 41 life? Yeah, it's a good combo. That was something that I just randomly saw, and I was like, oh my god, if I can get those two in an opening hand, watch out. Street Riot, this was good. As long as it's your turn, creatures you control get +1 and +0 and have trample. Excellent, excellent late game. Torch Courier, just if I desperately needed to get something with haste, but it was alright for a 1-drop. Garrison Sergeant, it's a 3/3 for 5, but as long as you have a gate, then it gets double strikes, so it's okay. I mean, it worked out most of the times, but every once in a while it's just basically stuck without a gate, and then it's like, okay, I can cast 5 for a 3/3, no thanks. Hammer Dropper. This thing was nice, so not only is it huge, but it also has Mentor, so that way, even if this thing dies, it gets a little bit of value and usually takes out something gigantic. So it was pretty good, but I had hoped for a little bit better. Response and Resurgence. So this one, I'll set that one aside. That's a good story in its own. Skylight Niche, if I can say that right. Sky Knight Legionnaire. It's good. I mean, 3 for a 2/2 flying and haste. It's got a little bit of an upside. I'm perfectly okay with it. Swath Cutter Giant. This thing was awesome. Eventually getting this thing out. It's a 5/5. It has Vigilance, but whenever it attacks, it deals 1 damage to each creature defending player controls. So, if the defending player had, let's say, like the 1/1 Death Touch, 3/1 Flyer, anything with 1 toughness, basically this finally gets into combat, swings, and hey, everything with your 1 toughness, dead. So, this was very, very fun. Tajik, he is a workhorse. So, 1 white and a red, 3/2, and he's got 4 things. Haste, Mentor, prevent all non-combat damage would be dealt to other creatures you control, and then red and white, so that way you can give him first strike until end of turn. Absolutely a wonderful card. I got this in one of my other packs, and it's like, okay, those are the colors I'm playing. This is going to work out. So I got a lot of use out of him. And every once in a while, when someone would make me discard a card where they could see my hand and basically make me get rid of one of their choice, this was usually one that got hit. So it's a very, very good card. A couple of guild gates, and then plains and mountains. I'd seen some strategies where they said there's enough mana. There's enough mana fixing where you could splash a 3rd color, but I just don't think my extra cards supported it. So as far as white, not much else there. For blue, get some card draw. Shiny Sphinx, it's okay, but maybe not that great. By the way, Surveil for the Damir decks, oh man, that was just insane. Let's see, and a wall. Okay, let's get to black. Black is fun. So here's a beefy flyer. Burglar Rat. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card. Deadly Visit to destroy target creature. Dead Weight to give something -2/-2. Gruesome Menagerie. Thought about it, but I didn't really have enough going on in black to at least try and get out of double black, so I thought, I don't even want to splash for this one. But it's nice. In a mono black deck, yeah, it's absolutely great. 5, and you get something with mana cost 1, 2, and 3 out on the battlefield. Cool. Hired Poisoner, a couple of those. 1/1 Death Touch. I'll take those every day. Necrotic Wound. Number of creature cards in your graveyard. You can give a target creature -X/-X until end of turn. And if it would die, exile it instead. Never happened. Cool foil. So, target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from that player's graveyard or hand and exile it. So, something in their graveyard that you think is kind of pesky, yeah, you can get rid of that too. Couple of those. Vicious Rumors. Again, a 1. Because black is insane. Vicious Rumors deals 1 damage to each opponent. Each opponent discards a card, then puts top card of the library into the graveyard. You gain 1 life. All for 1 mana. I'll come back to that later. So the other red ones, mostly from the preceded pack, are questionable. As far as green goes, the Generous Stray is kind of funny. At least you get a little card draw for a cat. Hitchclaw Recluse for a spider. Pelt Collector. Seriously thought about it. I really thought about maybe splashing for green just to get him in there, but in the end I just decided it kind of wasn't worth my time trying to wait in case I got mana screwed on a 3rd color. And the other green ones, not so great. As far as this one, I thought about putting in expansion because I could cast it for the double red to copy instant or sorcery spell converted mana cost 4 or less, but I didn't really have a lot of instant or sorcery spells costing 4 or less that I really wanted to cast twice. If I had something like a burn spell for 2 where I could copy it, yeah, I would totally love it. But man, that 3 to do 2 damage, just pretty harsh. House Guildmage, cool. I played against it. Target creature doesn't untap during its next controller's untap step for 1 and a blue. I had to ping this thing out of existence because that's a good card. For Shizzle Drizzle, it's Hypothesizzle. So it's got the funny name and draw 2 cards, and then whenever you discard a non-land card, when you do, Hypothesizzle deals 4 damage to target creature. Fun. Not the colors I was playing with that day, but fun. Join Shields, one of the cards that I thought about splashing in just to give all my creatures hexproof and indestructible until end of turn, but just, you know, when green went away, this went away too. Lezev the Multifarious, yay! I'm looking forward to this in EDH. He's going to go in quite nicely. Molder Hulk is a giant beefy guy that I don't want to see again. Sonic Assault's good. And some other stuff. Boros Locket. I didn't use any lockets. I just figured my mana base was good enough already. Rampaging Monument. That's actually a cool one. So, enters the battlefield with 3+1/+1 counters on it. Whenever you cast a multicolored spell, you can put an additional +1/+1 counter on it. So this is one basically I wanted to block and get rid of early because I knew late game, especially in a set like this where there's so many multicolored cards, this was going to get out of hand. And I did, as you can see, have a couple Celestia Lockets, and then later on a couple of Celestia Guild Gates. So I really could have done well if I would have splashed green, but I didn't really have a whole lot of green answers to really deal with anything. So I did play against a Damir player the first game, or the first match. I came out, I won the first one. Second one, he came back and won it. And I got to see how insane the Surveil was. Now, as an example, at the beginning of the event, they said, okay, here's your pre-release packs. You can go, you can pick out whatever you want. I'm going to announce them off, and everyone come up and pick up what you want. So he's like, you know, Golgari. And a few people go up and get Golgari because that's where the big money card was. And then, is it? And like, few people go up and get that, and then he said Damir, and it seemed like more than half the store got up to get it. And my friend and I, who both wanted to play Boros, were just like, oh my god, what happened? And someone said, yeah, the Surveil mechanic is way undervalued, and it just killed at the midnight pre-release. And then the guy behind the counter said, okay, sorry, we're out of packs, or out of pre-release packs, so for anyone else up here, just get one from another guild. So they sold out of that event of the Damir pre-release packs. So absolutely insane. It is so popular and very, very strong because black is insane in this set. I told my friend after I got done playing, I could basically put together a mono black deck and it had answers for everything. It had multiple ways of removal. You could, you know, weaken a creature with its power and toughness. You could destroy a creature, you could have flyers, you could have cheap little creatures with death touch. There's just so many things in black. It was basically the strongest color that I saw in the pre-release weekend. It was really impressive. So it got to the end of it. We went to turns. I think I had my opponent's life at like 17. He got me down to 1. And time was called, and basically the owner came over, and he's just like, okay, so how'd you guys finish? And the other guy said, I got it 2-1. And I thought, you know what, technically it's a draw, but then I just told him, I said, look, I said, if it was competitive and I was, you know, basically at the same life total of you, like we were both at about 10, yeah, I'd want the tie, but in this case, forget it, you take the win. So that's how that one went. Then I played against the Golgari deck and absolutely got my face stomped in. 0-2 loss. Just absolutely massive beatdown where it's just, here's a big creature, here's a bigger creature, here's another creature, here's Convoke for something giant, here's Convoke for something even huger, you know, here's all these pump spells, now all my creatures have trample, die, die, die. And there was just nothing I could do against it. It basically went green heavy, and then the black was there for removal, and just picked me apart. I mean, oh my god, that was such an efficient deck. Yeah, it was really, really good. So by the time the third one rolled around, my friend and I are basically at the loser's table at the far edge of the store. He's like, "Do you just want to go after this?" I'm like, "I don't know. We'll see. What do you do for this?" And he's like, "Well, it's a prize per win." I was like, "I don't know. We'll see." So in the third match, I played against another Golgari deck, and I thought, "Oh man, I'm gonna get my face stomped in." But she seemed to be a newer player. She wasn't like the woman that I played in the previous round with the Golgari deck, who she had her deck as a finely tuned machine and had some really, really great cards in it. The person that I played with in the third round, it wasn't necessarily as good. So every once in a while I could have something like Tajic out and I'm attacking with it and she could block with Tajic, then I could pump him to give him first strike, and then she'd go, "Oh yeah, I keep forgetting about that," and then have her creature die. Or then she'd cast something else. I could get it out there and just, okay, burn spell. Now you have no blockers. And now I'm swinging with everything again. So actually for that one, I rifled through 2-0 and I won. And that was one of the ones where I had the life counter not be able to go up to 41 on this thing. So I ended up with 40-some life by the end of the game. So that was also insane. So I finally won one. Yay. And then in the last game, I went up against a kid who it seemed like it was his first time, maybe not his first time playing Magic, but it was fairly early on. So I had something more or less, let me see. So he had the, which one was it? He had the Golgari deck, but he actually had the Golgari Mythic in it, so I forget the name of it, but it was actually a very, very strong card, and it wasn't something that I could really deal with. So that was one where basically I kind of slogged through, and I won my first game. And then the second one, it was kind of similar, where I went through and was slogging my way through, and my friend, I think, had already lost, and so he finished 1-3. And I said, "Okay, come over here for a second. I got a question." I said, with these cards this time around, you can't cast both sides of the card because this doesn't have fuse, right? And then he said, "Yeah, it's either just one or the other." And then someone else from further up the table said, "Oh yeah, and if you cast something, like if you cast the left half of the card, then when that goes into your graveyard, that counts as the left half of the card. And if you're trying to somehow recast it, that's the only thing that you can recast." I don't know necessarily if that's true. If you think that's a bad estimate, or if you know of an official ruling somewhere, let me know in the comments, because that just sounded awkward. I mean, how are you supposed to keep track of which half you cast? So anyways, I told my friend, I was like, "Oh, here, let's see, these are the creatures that I have out. So yeah, just hang out a second, check this out." So the kid had drawn something. He's like, "All right, cool, I got this." And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, this is gonna be a problem." So he used his last mana to put out some other creature. Okay, it's cool, but they're all ground creatures, and I had him at something like 14 life. And then it was like, oh, okay, or was it 14? Let me do the math here. Yeah, it was basically like 14 life, and these are the creatures that I had. So he was all tapped out, passed his turn to me. I asked my friend the question about this, and I said, "Okay, so here's what I'm going to do, and this is probably going to end the game." So finally, my pre-release card here, I went with Resurgence. So 3 red and a white, sorcery. Creatures you control gain first strike and vigilance until end of turn. After this main phase, there is an additional combat phase, followed by an additional main phase. So you have main 1, combat 1, main 2, combat 2, main 3. Those are your 5 phases that you get out of this card. So I'll just leave it here where it's blindingly bright. So all my creatures have vigilance. I said, all right, so this is what I'm going to do. So let's assume his life total, here I'll use the Boros die. Let's say the life total is at something like, his life total is at something like 14. I said, okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to attack with this, this, and this. And when Rock Charger attacks, target attacking creature without flying gains flying until end of turn. So I'm going to make this a flyer. And my opponent said, aren't you going to attack with all of them? I'm like, nope, I'm going to hold back on this one. So then, I was like, okay, so I'm going to do this and I'm going to hold this back. And then he asked, and I was like, okay, so no, I'm going to do it. So with this one, that made this one a flyer. And then when this one attacks, this gets a +1 counter on it because it has a lower power. So that meant that I was attacking for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 with that counter. So that put him at 5. And then that was my first combat. Then second main, I didn't do anything. Second combat, I'm going to attack with everything this time. This one is still a flyer until end of turn, which means this time I'm going to use this ability to make this a flyer. And then from this, because it's attacking again, then here's another counter on this. So now that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that'll drop him to -7. So basically he was at 14 life. He felt good, game's in hand, he just drew what I wanted, and then suddenly I just smashed him in the face with lethal damage. And basically, like, his jaw just dropped. And at that point, it's kind of like, oh man, sorry kid, but I want the win. So yeah, in that case, did I absolutely crush a little kid? Yeah, but it's because I had my card, which allowed me to do that. And I was disappointed getting this as a pre-release card. There was certainly way other better Boros cards that I wanted, but it was kind of ironic that in the end I did get to use this for a kind of game-ending match at the very, very last game of the day. So that being said, I finally won that one 2-0. So through the day, that was 1-2, 0-2, 2-0, 2-0. So I did okay. I finished, I think, 32nd out of 57 players. So it was actually a very, very good turnout. And it was very fun. I didn't get to play against my friend technically, but afterwards played against him in one match using our pre-release decks against each other. He absolutely kicked my ass, and I still don't know exactly why he did so well. I think he just played against stronger opponents. And that was fun, because technically that was my first match against my old high school friend for the first time in 24 years. So, long overdue. I hope we get to play again sometime soon. But, since it was pack win, whoosh, here are my 2 packs. So, I'll just do odds and evens. Odds it is. Let's see. Let me move here. Also, I see the timer's way up there. This is a super long video. Let's see. Bat, Centaur, another Garrison Sergeant, Muse Drake, Deadweight. Oh man, that fresh-faced recruit is just having a bad day. Go through the cards, find him in the different cards, and oh man, he just has a rough time. Let's see, Cackling Drake, fun. Gatekeeper Gargoyle, all right. Goblin Banneret, all right, can use another one of those. And Land, all right, well, that's all right. At least it wasn't like... You're mocking me, aren't you? Boros Guildgate, all right. Nope. That's funny. Well, at least it's not like the Dominaria one where 3 out of my 6 packs were lands. That was not really helpful at all. By the way, is anyone else disappointed that you get 5 packs and the pre-release card for 6 rares now instead of for 6 rares instead of 7? I think that's slightly disappointing. Okay, let's see. Lead of Champion, fun. Disinformation campaigns, all right. An Escapable Blaze, cool. This spell can't be countered. An Escapable Blaze deals 6 damage to any target. I'll take it. Hey, Firemind's Research. All right. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put charge counter on Firemind's Research. 1 in a blue, remove 2 charge counters from Firemind's Research, draw a card. And 1 in a red, remove 5 charge counters from Firemind's Research. It deals 5 damage to any target. I want to play this in a Storm deck. That sounds like fun. All right. So, all in all, it was a fun event. I had a great time. I hope you got to go to pre-release. I hope you didn't get your face smashed in by the Damir deck. Just basically taking its time and loading up its graveyard with whatever it wanted, then putting everything it wants in its graveyard back on the field. And likewise, controlling you to do nothing pretty much the entire game, where you're like, I'll play a card. Oh, it's gone. Okay, I'm going to play another card. Oh, countered. I'm not doing anything this turn. Oh, okay, you're drawing more cards. Oh, you're getting everything out of your graveyard. Okay, here's some more black cards to just ruin my day. Oh, yeah, great, fun. Or then the Golgari deck, which, if you're not careful, will just stomp your face in mightily. So, irregardless, I hope you had a good time. I certainly did, and I promise the next video will be shorter. So, that's it for this Guilds of Ravnica pre-release. I had a blast, and I'm looking forward to the next pre-release. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. As always, try and like, share, and subscribe. Still trying to hit 100 subscribers, and we're almost there. Yay! So that's it, and until next time, good luck.